All right, class. Today we're going to learn how to manipulate graphs better. Some parts that we want to look at are we're going to put in a formula. We're going to make the headers work a little nicer and neater. And we're also going to then learn how to separate data, sort data, that kind of thing. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to make our headers fit nicer and neater. When you go up here and select this tool here, this will wrap the text. So you wrap the text. Now, another thing I like to do is I like to center the text a little bit. Looks a little neater and tidier that way. These things are kind of big, but they'll live with it for now. Next thing I want to do is I want to go into insert a formula. So what I want to do is moles of dry copper sulfate. Okay, so this is the dry copper sulfate. This is the gram formula weight for copper sulfate without water. So all you'll do is you'll go in here and put in an equal sign. Mass of dry copper sulfate divided by gram formula mass or weight, and enter. Now, all you do to copy that down is you just grab that little blue box there and just drag it straight down, and it makes your formula. Now we're having trouble here. Oh, I see why. It should be not B9. Okay, let's go redo that. Control Z. That should be 159.61. That's the value you're going to put in there. Now when you drag it down, it will work. What I had done was I copied it down and it gave me the next subsequent box. So those are things that you've got to kind of learn when you're working with your spreadsheet. So the next one we're going to do is this one. And now we need to, this is the mass of the water that came out. So you just take that one, and that's an equals. This mass gram formula weight of water is 18 grams, and boom. Just take this and drag it down like so. Now, the mole ratio is the moles of water divided by the moles of copper sulfate. The larger one divided by the smaller one. So we go moles of water equals this block divided by this block. And then you just drag those down and it copies them all. Now, I think it would be interesting to know what the average of this block is. So I'm going to go equals, and I'm going to go up here to this. This is your tool for finding formula. So a very common formula is average, and right there it is. Just grab it. And now you highlight the boxes you want to average and enter. You're done. Now, I don't like that this font is different than the others, so I will collect my whole spreadsheet, Comic Sans, bold, and 14 it. Enter, and now it's all the same font. Next thing I would like to do is graph this. So I will just take this data, and now I'm going to generate a graph. Now your graph should explain what the experiment was, and it should be meaningful. Now, a stacked bar graph is not the best. First thing you want to do is make sure your headers are showing what you're supposed to be getting. Use column A as headers. We're done there. Now we want to go up here to my x-axis, and this is going to be mass of water. Change in mass, that's this one, that's mass of the water. Go up here to x-axis, change in mass. There it is, boom. Now this one should be moles of dry copper sulfate, moles of water out, and the last one is going to be ratio of water to copper sulfate. And all the others are going to get removed. Now you're going to remove all these headers. Now the only thing that's going to be left in your graph are those 3 lines and your x-axis. Okay, so we got 3 on the y-axis, 1 on the x. So now we go to customize. Well, we pick our graph next. Now, I like this one for some reason. I don't even know why I like it, but I do. So now we're going to try and get these separated out and get it to looking more sensible. So we go up to customize, series. Now, I want the moles to be on the y-axis, but I want it on the right y-axis. So we're going to make a right y-axis. And we're going to make this one moles on the other right axis. So now the 2 of those are going to be there. And the only one left to get now is my ratio of water, and that's this one. I think that's more important than that. I'm going to make it a black line, or I think black is probably best in this case. Now the next thing you're going to want to do is start adding data points. Now, the one I want the data points on is on the ratio. That's the one that's significant. So let's go down here and select data points. Now, of those data points, the one that is the most significant is the average. So you can click on it. And this time, I'm going to go off of the auto, and I'm going to make it a bigger font. That's too big. Let's go and click on that and make it a little bigger. There we go. Now, that's telling me that that's the biggest font. And now what I would really think would be useful at this point is I would put in a trend line, because I think a trend line is really meaningful in this situation. So that's kind of showing you what the average ratio would be, which is around 5.19. Now, we need to title everything up. So let's go up to the graph and title. This graph is about water content in copper 2 sulfate crystals. Next, subtitle, black line, indicates ratio of water to copper sulfate. Next, horizontal axis, mass, water, out, grams. Vertical axis left, ratio of water to copper sulfate. Right axis, moles of water and copper sulfate. Now I'm pretty much done. I do have a mistake on that bottom horizontal axis. It's missing the W. What you're going to do now is you're going to put this. I'm not sure why it lost my 5.19 there. Oh well, I'll put it in by hand. You may want to look at that. It ate one of my headers. You click here, copy the chart. Now you're going to go put it in your document. Then you're going to add arrows. And how you add arrows is you're going to go here, double click on it. You put it in as a drawing, and then you add arrows by going up here. Now that arrow, if you want to get good, you'd put a little capital letter A in another box, capital letter B, box, capital letter C. Maybe move that one over a little bit over here somewhere. And flip this around to the other edge. And point down like that. Now, I'd save that. A, B, and C. Write down what those are there. And that's pretty much it for your graph. Now, percent water calculated. That's right here. All you got to do is that. Calculate your formula. That's the next question right here. What is the formula for the hydrated copper sulfate? And then you look up what is chemical formula of hydrated copper sulfate. There it is. You can go to this. Now, you can bib it. It won't do that. It doesn't bib it if you're on a PDF very well. So go back and find a thing here. There it is. This is explaining the thing. This explains the experiment you just did. You'd copy that, copy citation, add it here at the bottom, and voila, we're pretty much done. And that's it for the day.